This segment of Healthy Living is brought to you by Radisson Fort George Hotel and Marina. Yes, I can.
Nursing is a tough job. It is physically, mentally, and emotionally taxing. In this day and age, the job has gotten even harder as lesser people are called to the profession, and so those who are trained must put in more hours. As the Registrar of Nurses and Midwives Council and a nurse for 3 decades, Nurse Catherine Godinez explains some of the modern-day challenges.
There is a global nursing shortage currently being experienced, and Belize, like every other country, has been suffering from this shortage. So our nurses do have to work harder
And longer hours.
and longer hours to accomplish what probably in past years we had more hands to help. Now we have to work longer hours and harder to accomplish quality patient care.
Catherine McPherson is a doula, which is a professional trained to support mothers during pregnancy and labor. Through this job, she's made her own observations of the needs of nurses.
I've noticed that nurses are on their feet a lot and they're running back and forth, they're doing a lot. They're on their, you're standing all the time. And I notice as a doula, I bring the ball into my sessions or when I'm working with the women in labor. And the nurses are always intrigued. What are you doing? What are you doing with that? Mm-hmm. And then they want to sit on the balls. And then it inspired me to come up with a workshop because I realized, oh, the nurses need a little relief too.
Catherine Godinez and Catherine McPherson have one thing in common. They both want to improve the self-care of nurses.
So you want the people who are taking care of you to also be healthy. I think that is really, really important. And I see that they work really long hours. There are a lot of demands put on them. It is not an easy job. I've witnessed that. My father was an OBGYN. I saw the stresses it took on him. Working with nurses in the doula aspect, you see that too. And I feel that nurses are sort of forgotten in a sense because everyone's thinking about the doctors, but the nurses are the ones running around doing all the groundwork and really dealing more with the patients one-on-one. I'm not discrediting doctors. I'm not saying that at all. However, I just see immediately, wow, I'd really love to help these nurses.
Even lack of modern resources, as Godinez explains, can increase the challenges within the nursing profession.
We do a lot of human contact. We have to lift patients, we have to carry patients, we have to push wheelchairs, we have to probably bend over to give care. So this over time does take a toll on the nurse's physical body structure. Mm-hmm. I know hospitals in the US, they have a lot of technology where they actually have automated lifts for patients, but in this part of the world, so far we have not reached those levels, so we do a lot of manual work with our bodies.
On Friday, McPherson is hosting 2 workshops exclusively for nurses. She's hoping that she can introduce basic techniques to nurses to better cope within their daily tasks.
Number 2 things I've heard about nurses complaining about body issues would be their lower backs and their necks. So we're going to be doing posture correction. So I'm going to have them practice some exercises on how to stand properly, tilting their pelvis, engaging different muscles, using yoga blocks, and that sort of thing. And then doing core. So really being able to get into those core muscles, the transverse abdominals. We don't use our lower abdominals very often. So teaching them how to wake those abdominal muscles up, and which will then help them alleviate some of their back pain. So there's a core strengthening. And then there's also going to be, if you're on the job and your back hurts, I'm going to show you some things to do real quick if you got a wall. So yeah, little quick fixes. I want to create a safe space for nurses to come and feel like they can talk about stresses on the job and coping techniques. We'll talk about that. And then also be able to talk about the physical stresses, be able to give them some relief, some exercises, some toolkits that they can take home with them so they can, use this while they're on the job. So quick fixes on the job, that sort of stuff. And then also do some relaxation techniques.
This workshop will help us now to internalize this care for us. You know, how can we care for ourselves as caregivers? I guess it will help us to probably relieve some stress, to learn some techniques that we could do while lifting, bending. As a nurse, we do learn those techniques, but I guess Catherine has some yoga-related techniques that we will learn. Yeah. But we as nurses do need to learn to care for ourselves, physically, spiritually, and mentally before we could give adequate quality care to our patients.
This segment of Healthy Living was brought to you by Radisson Fort George Hotel and Marina. Yes, I can.